for me, growing up, I was a Yankees fan. I got to put on the pinstripe in Yankee Stadium. I was like, man, I finally made it to the big leagues. That's what it felt like.
Oh, gosh.
I was gonna ask you about that because
thank you.
A lot of guys come over and say that. You know, I grew up a Yankees fan, and I always wonder how much is bullshit and fan service and how much is real. But I mean, your dad grew up. Your dad was a Yankee fan while you were growing up. Is that the history there?
Yeah. So I remember, like in the '90s when it was all going down. You know, when the Core Four and everybody was doing their thing. I was a huge Yankees fan, and I was like 10 to 12 to 13 years old. So I got to go play in the Little League World Series. And it was just kind of one of those things where Yankees were always on TV and you loved them. You loved Jeter. Like, you know, you could guy that played the game, did everything the right way. And it's just like you watch, like I remember watching Clemens and Pettit and Mussina and all those guys just go after it. And then, you know, you had the best closer of all time watching him play. So it's like you were a little spoiled. And I was like, I want to play, you know, I want to be on that stage, or I want to play with those guys. You know, you didn't get a chance because, you know, most of them were retired, but that was what you always thought. Like, if I ever make the big leagues, I want to be them. And then to be able to put on the same uniform as them was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's okay. Not bullshit. I love it.
Yeah. You, I know you can't see us, but that just made us so happy because we can hold that over Trevor Plouffe's head for a little while. So thank you so much.
What I love about watching you pitch is the mentality you bring to the mound. We're Yankees fans, so when you got traded over, I mean, it was just a ton of fun. That first start I think you made in Chicago after the Yankees got blown out by the Red Sox. I mean, you shut the White Sox down, but you were also screaming, yelling on the mound, bringing this like kind of, I don't know, just bravado. Is that mindset or who you are on the mound? Do you have to mentally get yourself there, or is that just naturally who you are when you're out there?
No, there's just something that happens when I'm standing on the mound and someone's trying to hit against me that it's just pure anger that takes over. And I've had it my whole life. So I had to learn how to tame it down a little bit, because younger in my days, especially with the Cardinals, it was, oh, he has a bad attitude. And then weird part about it is when you start pitching better, it's like, oh man, he's a bulldog. No, I'm still the same guy with the same meanness that I was before, but if you pitch a little better, you're a bulldog. If you struggle, you have a bad attitude. So I just decided if I pitch better, no one will talk to me about it anymore and they'll leave me alone, and it worked.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you struck out Polka and the White Sox during that game, and just turned off the mound and screamed, "Fuck you, motherfucker!" and walked off. And the Mikes picked it up, and it was like, hell yeah, I love this guy.
Yeah, it just pops out every once in a while. I try to hold those in because you don't want to. I mean, when it's all said and done, you don't want to. You know, that was nothing at him. It's just one of those things where I get going and it kind of takes over. So it's never at a player unless I've actually never yelled directly to a player or at a player. Just sometimes it just comes out, and that's just the unfortunate thing of it. But you know, it's okay, because when I give up a homer and they want to fit me, I'm okay with it. They got me. It's part of it. So,
yeah, it's just in the moment.
I'm cool with it.
CeCe is very similar to you in that way, where he's always yelling and screaming, but it's nothing personal. Did you guys have a good connection when you came to New York?
Yeah, man, it was awesome to play with him. I've had the luxury of playing with, you know, quite a few like really good competitors, and he was awesome to be around, pick his brain, talk to him about, you know, everything that he's gone through in his career, and you know how he went from a power guy to, you know, being able to do what he did at the end of his career with, you know, manipulating both sides of the plate, using that cutter and stuff like that. So it was really awesome to be with him. You know, that half of that year I mean, heck, I saw him pitch it feels like my whole life. I told him that when I got to him, I was like, man, I feel like I've seen you pitch since I was like 4 years old. But I was a little older than that when he came up with Cleveland. But it was definitely you know, when you get to play with guys like that, it's like one of those things where you feel like you've made it.
You know, your first time out of the pen, those first 4 innings, if they were anything good, you were getting Sonny's spot. That's just kind of where that season was at that point. And then you do what you did in Chicago. I think it was 7 innings, shutout ball with 9 or 10 strikeouts. So then you started the rest of the season. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed watching you pitch. I mean, like I said, just constantly yelling. My favorite, Lance, was one time you struck a dude out, and then you just said calmly to yourself on the mound, right down the middle, got him.
Yeah. That sounds like something I'd say. Well,
That's great.
I probably went to like 0-2, 1-2, 2-2, 3-2, trying to be cute, and then I just said, "All right, here it is. Do it right down the middle." I was fine. I'm like, "What were you doing? Just do it from the get go."
You kind of just shrugged.